With the ginormous pressure on this couple's shoulders from the British media, royal family fans, and the fate of the UK solely on them soon, surely something will have to come crashing down, right? And that something might just be Prince William and Kate Middleton's marriage, because Where Are They Now is here today to count down our top 10 list of signs William regrets marrying Kate. Do you think Will and Kate's perfect brand has more of a negative or positive effect on their marriage? Share your responses below and let's jump right in. In our 10th spot, true colors. With the way the British media and UK public continuously portray Kate as a regal lady of the manor, one would think she could never do any wrong. Except according to a CNN article, the reality of Kate is much less flattering. As Catherine gears up to one day take the throne as England's future queen consort, it appears the truth will need to reveal itself from all angles before she can take charge of an entire kingdom. Like a true fairy tale, Kate has been depicted as everything you can think of, delicate and graceful with a quiet tone and an overall submissive nature. Of course, when you put her up against someone like Meghan, who the media portrays as this loud, dominating, big-headed British Empire bully, it makes sense why people would prefer Kate in a heartbeat. But supposedly, Kate was just as, if not still is, as calculated as Meghan is claimed to be. As for CNN, Kate's family is full of social climbers, and Kate only went to St. Andrews University, the place where she and William initially met, because she discovered Will was there and reportedly switched schools at the time to get into Will's inner circle. Word of the mouth is that this is why Kate was allegedly so quick to ditch her old pals, allegedly preferring to instead cling to royals as everyone else who has access to the famous family does. If this is even the slightest bit true, then William must know this information by now, and the collective is doing one hell of a good job to convince the world otherwise. Before we jump into number 9, be sure to join our Where Are They Now family by subscribing now. In our 9th spot, messy past. When 2019 reports of William cheating sprouted, the public was shook by the fact that their seemingly spotless couple had potentially gone through such a rocky public issue. This mass speculation came about when a close royal source originally informed Us Weekly of how the two were having to re-evaluate their relationship because of the allegations surrounding them, and was furthermore working on strengthening themselves. The claims of Will engaging in an affair with one of Kate's closest friends, Rose Hanbury, shook the kingdom. Out of nowhere, reports surfaced alleging that Kate ended up cutting Rose off over the mess, and described how William wanted to play peacemaker between the former pals, according to royal insiders. If this event did take place, surely William couldn't have been that happy that Kate was icing Rose out of their inner circle. Partly given his ties with his former fling weren't as accessible, and otherly because Kate was alleged to have been making a massive deal about it behind the scenes. Of course, that's if there's any truth to those rumors in the first place. And let's not even get into their brief separation from the mid-2000s, because we'll be here all day if so. In our 8th spot, tension with in-laws. Falling out with family never feels good, and I'm sure the same thing could be said when referring to the breakup of the royal bros, elder William and younger Harry. The tension their many disagreements have caused could see Kate and William's relationship as collateral damage. Then there's the theory from sources that Catherine is just not in agreement with the way the brothers are handling things, given Harry is very public about their mess while William wants to keep as much private as he can. Then there's the physical fight, which, if Meghan was reportedly pissed on her end, just imagine how Kate was also feeling. There's no way she could have been happy about those events, nor how they were dragged through the media and tabloids. Of course, in this sense, the tension with William's brother's wife clearly played into things as well. Kate and Meghan have a history of mutual beef, given they fought over bridesmaids' dresses, fancy kitty tights, and reportedly just about everything in between. The only thing that actually makes sense from all parties is that at least one person wound up in tears. This debacle could have been very well unsettling for William, who likely wants to maintain peace between all parties. However, there was also a ton of talk about Kate being intimidated by Meghan, which could have tossed the idea of peace out the window and riled William's feathers. Why, you may ask? Well, let's just say Kate really is intimidated by Meghan. Then in William's eyes, having a wife who feels so inferior to his brother's partner probably isn't a great look. Given Kate spent a decade shaping herself into the perfect royal partner who can handle all the ropes, Meghan was thrown into the wild a lot faster and already had a status behind her to match. According to reports, this plays the biggest part in why Kate fears Meghan. In our 7th spot, incoming bad king. William's father wasn't exactly the most exemplary version of what a married man should look like, and in his eyes, William could hate possibly being seen as the same type of ruler. Assumably, William likely despises being known as the bad guy one day, as opposed to his dad, because of how public, messy, and scandalous Charles's reportedly forced marriage to Diana was. Seeing just how underhandedly things ended up with the current queen consort, William potentially essentially wants Kate to keep up their squeaky clean image so that they'll never end up in the same boat his late mother and his monarch father were knee-deep drowning in. Not to mention, royal divorces are speculated to be massively frowned upon, so it's obviously not ideal for William and Kate to get separated in that sense, especially when taking into account how well they've supposedly been keeping this up since making things official. In our sixth spot, family drama. As we discussed a bit earlier, the tension between Harry, Meghan, William, and Kate has served as a seemingly serious strain in their marriage. But what about the rest of the royals? It's not as often that we saw peeks into how the mess between the core four had actively troubled Kate and William's relationships with the additional royals, like the late Her Majesty and the less publicly active members. These rifts between Meghan and Harry versus the family could very well still be taking a toll on the current royals, given there was a constant public divide of who the late Queen Elizabeth II would pick or like between the brothers' wives when she was still around. This alone could have easily made things harder for Kate and William's marriage than needed, constantly having to feed into the media battle for attention and dominance within the kingdom, as two similarly ruling couples at the time. And what about their kids? Surely this made things like bonding within the castle and attending royal events together between the ex-royals and the remaining family difficult, when there was constant drama or alienation taking place for all of it. For example, Charles's coronation and how reports insisted Kate was relieved and Meghan was simply tired. And while William might just be able to relate to the latter too. In our fifth spot, princess pressure. Apparently, Kate has far too much pressure on her shoulders, and it could reach a breaking point for the Queen Consort in training. The tipping balance of her life as William's wife and Princess of the UK means she could be upholding standards on both ends that just aren't realistically sustainable over time. I mean, how manageable is being the perfect wife and the perfect ruler? Let's take William's dating history as an example, a past full of exes who could not stand being by his side because of the extraordinary demands needed of them being thrust into the direct spotlight. It's probably why William had trouble keeping any girlfriends around seriously until Kate. But one of William's long-term exes in particular, Chelsea Davy, once referred to the media attention around her as so full-on, crazy and scary and uncomfortable, while further claiming she couldn't cope according to a June 2019 cheat sheet article. With cameras watching her every movement and a then-cheating scandal at the surface of her marriage, Kate could have been wishing she remained normal instead of a royal. She was heavily targeted by the media as Wady Katie, as the then future Duchess was ridiculed for waiting on William's hand for so long. Despite understanding the tabloids, Kate couldn't have been fully prepared for just how intense they'd hound her over the years. Not to mention the rules of being a royal, like posing for professional images hours after giving birth, a tradition Kate followed right after William's late mother, Diana, did. Outside of the agreements between the royals and British newspaper outlets, in which must be upheld and not based on speculation, like covering William's alleged affair, Kate could have very well regretted her decision to live a less quiet life. Even though she seems to be a natural in front of the lens, there's a give and take nature in every human, and there's a possibility that the take portion of being a royal will simply be too much for Kate in the end. In our fourth spot, the perfect couple. Something that's been a very common theme on today's list is that Kate and William are the royals' heroes, basically, with the fact that William and Kate are seen as the good couple versus Harry and Meghan, who are constantly portrayed as the villainous pair out to ruin the royals. This public picture could be a lot to keep sticking with. Even more, there are a handful of online articles striving to expose Kate for who she presumably is, and her and William's marriage for what it has supposedly become. As per a 2023 She Knows article, their marriage is drastically different from what fans are publicly fed. Still, the couple being able to keep a cool front when it comes to public relations is commendable, constantly appearing unified to the nth degree when making appearances and following royal protocol. However, if we go by the words of Tom Quinn, author of Gilded Youth, An Intimate History of Growing Up in the Royal Family, then the untouchable duo plays a much different game behind closed doors. Tom explained how their strong personalities often causes issues, detailing, "Someone who worked for Kensington Palace told me they do have rows. It's not a perfect marriage." And while the outlet claims their fights never reach more tempers than a few cushions being thrown, it begs the question of whether this part was done as to not to damage their perfectly upheld image in the end, as the article then goes on to discuss how they serve as the most exemplary unit given their reported dynamics. In our third spot, wedding day mishaps. Apparently, Kate and William's 2011 wedding day didn't go as planned if we go by the words of Marie Claire. There were 3 specific mishaps exposed in the online outlet, including William being terrified the day of, Kate's wedding ring not fitting, and Charles's vehicle used for their newlywed drive stalling when they were meant to be taking off. William was expectantly extremely nervous about giving his hand to his wife, and reportedly only caught a half hour of shut-eye the night prior. Never a good sign, assumably. Then, Kate, whose ring was passed down from Diana, had a perfect fit before the ceremony, but found it too tight for the official day since she had it resized ahead of tying the knot due to weight loss. Another seemingly questionable occurrence. However, all in all, their big day saw quite a few obstacles, but while they might remain regretful over it, they're also still married now, so there goes that, I guess. In our second spot, opposed marriage. There are a ton of online reports that insist William resisted marrying Kate for as long as he possibly could. The whole world now knows their journey to happily ever after wasn't the smoothest, and even following, the pair faced a mix of backlash and hate for some of the things they did or said. Their initial breakup was a shock factor given the public assumed that they were perfect together, and this allegedly was the biggest factor of why William refused to move forward with his and Kate's relationship at one point. Apparently, Charles's reputation, mixed with how he was reportedly pressured into marrying Diana because the late princess was deemed suitable, became a worry William faced when his relationship came into play. To be fair, the duo were young, and at this point William probably had his whole life ahead of him to decide. But we just have to ask, could William possibly only have married Kate just because he had to? I guess that's for you all to decide. And in our first spot, lipstick pic. Lastly, we wrap up today's very speculative video with a particular photo of the then younger couple that just screams odd. From the lipstick in Kate's hand to William pulling her hair, and the bright red words of King on Will's chest, it seems William doesn't look very happy about this picture. While we can't see Kate's face from this angle, William pulling her hair does come across as a bit unsettling, whereas it appears Kate just wanted to have a bit of fun. There have been a ton of online theories about what this could mean exactly too, but given it's been kind of swept under the rug, like a lot of the other problematic Kate and William things, it seems we may never know what exactly this mess truly meant. That's been today's WATN. I've been your host, Michaela, and thanks for watching, friends!